ladies and gentlemen, this is DFS Army's NFL pre-lock show, week 7. Who do we have a slate in front of us today? We will break it down here. We have the GOAT crew of Tattoo, Razzle, and the one and only Shark Lab. We all have our sweet spot. I say it every week. Tattoo's our single entry guy. Razzle and I, we're your large field GPP guys. And then the one and only Burns, he's the author of Winning the $1 Million Game. He's pretty great at everything. He's our numbers guy, our facts guy, and so we go to him for all of the numerical information. Good to see y'all in the chat today. Carlos, Cujo. Hey, Friday was a Pilsner. Today it's just water because I'm going to the bar later, so we'll see what happens there. But good to see everyone, and we'll definitely get to your questions, and we'll also just talk through our strategy and thoughts for this slate because I've been talking to these guys already this morning, and they have some pretty strong opinions. So we'll definitely have a good amount to talk through. Bobby, appreciate you. And then also, Bobby, good to see you back with DFS Army. If you all are interested in having access to the optimizer, click the link in the description and join DFS Army. That's how you'll be able to follow the settings we'll talk about in this show, follow in the Discord with different changes that are continuing to happen throughout this slate. But y'all, let's get to these questions. The first one comes from Carlos. He says, I play a single entry one max low dollar. Who is your quarterback stack for that type of entry? And for low, I'm assuming dollar 150 max, which one is your most exposed QB stack? So we'll break this down in a little bit more of a way that I think can just benefit a good amount of people. We'll answer his question for like your low dollar quarterback stack, but then also like who's your single entry quarterback on this slate? How are you all thinking about the quarterback position in general? Tattoo, I'll start with you. I know we're having some technical difficulties before the show, but are you back with us?
Can you hear me any better?
A little bit.
You're on point now.
But keep going. What are your thoughts for the quarterback position this week?
Dak is like my single entry cash quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And any lower owned, I think it's tough. Like probably Jordan Love, but I mean Dak is kind of low owned.
Well, now he's like 11% owned, so he's not as low owned as we thought he was going to be on Friday. Yeah. All right. Well, no, I think those two plays make sense. What about you, Raz? How are you thinking about the quarterback position today?
I'm thinking I wish I didn't have to play a quarterback.
Real.
Why? I don't love anybody. Like Jaden, like I get the defensive matchup, but that offense just looks like it's in trouble without reliable wide receivers. So for me, it's I actually mentioned it in chat this morning. I think it was in Burns' channel. I'm getting to just all sorts of Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, being driven by the fact that I absolutely love Cortland Sutton. So he's like my favorite wide receiver play. So like I'm just attacking the quarterback position based on who I love the most at wide receiver. I'm not, I guess, feels weird to build around the wide receiver love and just taking the quarterback that comes with it. You know, when we're in general, we're taking a quarterback and then building with whatever wide receivers we can around them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that strategy. Burns, what about you? How are you looking at the quarterback position today?
Yeah, so with quarterbacks, I'm not going to be as high as a lot of people in the industry are on Jaden Daniels. I just don't like what's going on there right now with the perspective of the fact that we got Deebo Samuel out, we got Terry McLaurin out. So that leaves some heap pile wide receivers that you wouldn't start if everybody was healthy anyway. And then you got Zach Ertz and you got the running back. So I'm lower on Jaden Daniels. I may only just have one lineup running in the Millie Maker with him just because, and just call that a day on him. Exposure in MME will be more towards Dak in this game for me. And then other quarterbacks that I'm running today in MME, Patrick Mahomes, I'll be running him. I'll be running Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Bo Nix, and I'll sprinkle in some Daniel Jones. Sorry. That's where I'm going to sprinkle it in with him. Single entry, I'm tossing back and forth between Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. I really like the 5K builds at quarterback, especially in the high dollar entries that I play in. When you get into the 6,500 range, I think we talked about it last week when we had Baker Mayfield on here. I did use Baker in my high dollar, and it doesn't allow the build to be as effective in those high dollar single entry contests as a 5K quarterback does. It allows you to get a lot more efficient with your builds than a 6,500 or even a 6K in general salaried quarterback.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good game plan. I don't think I'm too different than you, Burns, but I will have a good amount of Jaden Daniels exposure. I do understand the concern with him just not having a ton of weapons to work with, but in a way, I kind of like that more. If those guys are struggling to get open, I'm hoping Daniels can use that rushing upside. He didn't look bad last week. He didn't look super electric either, though. So that does... I'm managing my expectations there, but the total still being this high, I am going to have a lot of exposure. I don't think the strategy is bad of really focusing on the Commanders running back, but I'll have lines that kind of play both narratives out. I am playing 6 quarterbacks today. They include JD, Dak Prescott, Drake May, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix. Those are the 6 I'm running with. It was 5 before we had the Josh Jacobs news, but if Jacobs is a little banged up and or doesn't play, they're going to have to air it out a bit. So I'm curious to see what happens here. The Cardinals are giving up the 7th most yards in the passing game right now, so they're definitely a team that can be picked on. They just haven't been breaking that much, though, against the pass, which is the only concern I have there. So let's get to this question from Chris. He said, Emmanuel Wilson, is he a must start if Jacobs is inactive? Burns, what are your thoughts here? Have you given this much thought yet?
No, because of the situation is still ongoing. And it may not even take legs and make where Emmanuel Wilson even becomes a thing.
True.
I honestly, I think other people, I think Kevin is going to be on board with, I think he even said it earlier.
He did.
That he's going to be probably 100% on this guy if it comes to be where Josh Jacobs is actually going to be out. I'm not going to be 100% on anybody today because I think 100% on anybody today is actually foolish because no one actual play is a certainty over another. And so I'm just not going to be doing that. Though, if you want to do it, by all means, please do. If that's part of your process, by all means. But a 4K running back is nice. I mean, all they need is like at a minimum 12 to make tournament value. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. And so, but when we get to the Jonathan Taylor stuff, I'll touch on that later. But
fair. Raz, you feel differently here? Or are you also seeing things the same way?
Pretty similar. I just don't like Wilson's not stepping into a Josh Jacobs role. Like they would end up splitting some snaps with Chris Brooks, and Brooks would definitely be the receiving guy over Wilson, where Josh Jacobs is upticked in the passing game. So I just don't really think so because I think his upside's still somewhat capped, and at that price point, as much as we like Burns and I talk about Jane Daniels and not being a fan of, like, Luke McCaffrey's 4,100, and I think he just has a bunch more upside, right? Because he's a big play touchdown guy. So, like, it's really tough to be like, I must start a backup running back in a road game. So I don't know. Like, maybe I can be talked into it, but right now I don't think so.
For me, this is a nice welcome to the NBA almost being back in season situation. For those of you that don't know, NBA kicks off this Tuesday. We'll have a pre-lock show going live probably around like 5:45-ish p.m. Eastern. And in NBA, we have these situations all the time where lock is at 7. There's a game that starts at like 9:30 p.m. and we don't know if that guy's actually going to play or not, and you're probably going to have to late swap. This is one of those situations for me. Josh Jacobs, I am over the field on right now because I think his ownership's probably going to be a little bit lower because people are nervous about the situation. Matchup is good here. So this is just a spot I don't want to fade. And if we get the news that Josh Jacobs is out, I'm going to late swap. I have plenty of exposure in general to a lot of the late games on this slate. And so I can mix and match accordingly with that information. That's something that you can do with the DFS optimizer with us here at DFS Army. So that's going to be the way I approach it. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the news. Robbie said, Quinton, I'm thinking he's talking about Johnson or Sutton here. Tattoo, what are your thoughts here? Do you want Quentin Johnston or Sutton?
I mean, I don't think you really go wrong either way, but I think I'd lean Sutton.
Yeah, I'm with you too. What is Dak's ownership? He's now in that 11 to 12% range, Larry. So definitely significantly higher than that 4% we saw earlier, but he's still in a great spot. So I'm not going to let that ownership scare me off of him.
Hey, Josiah, Larry's also got another question in the chat.
Okay.
Let me pull it up, and I can speak to this.
Mm-hmm.
Larry, DM me about this, and I will get it for you.
Sweet. All right. Chris said, I have too much Olave. Raz, what are you doing with Olave? He's the king of targets and receptions and doing absolutely nothing with it so far.
I am dropping his projections because I do not want him anywhere near my highest wide receivers. Like, just where's the upside? Like, it's not there. So, like, I'm just not he's a better version of Jacoby Myers right now to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm playing super large field. Like, I'm not happy with a 14 out of Olave. So I'm just sick of seeing his name pop up is really what it is.
That's real.
And that game has a lot of wind and stuff going on too. So, like, there's talk that in the second half of that game, which you expect one team to have to be passing more, the winds are expected to pick up. Where in Cleveland, they're expected to drop for the second half. So,
that part sucks. I do have plenty of Olave. He is typically in prove-it territory for me, but going up against the Bears, hopefully he can finally get that touchdown that makes it all worthwhile for us. Let's see. I'm with you, Big Rob. Today is the day. Let's make it happen. Does Jimmy Horn Jr. get to the end zone today? He's definitely in the mix. Those from like a DFS standpoint, I kind of just ignore pretty much all of the wideouts for the Panthers. But if you're just talking straight up touchdowns,
he'll probably run around in the end zone like before the game starts or something.
That's wild.
So he will see the end zone.
Jimmy Horn, I say it every week. He's the dart throw speedster. Just nothing too crazy there.
He'll score 3 touchdowns now that made fun of him.
Yeah, now that you made fun of him, he's definitely getting a touchdown. Darnold over Rattler. I'm assuming you're talking just general fantasy, but I would go Darnold. Who is your favorite standalone receiver today in single entry? Burns, I'll toss it to you. Who's standing out for you at the wideout position?
Oh, man, this is a good one because I do have a couple. It depends on who I use as quarterback, but right now I'm at Caleb And so I don't mind a Dunze in this one with him. I mean, he's pretty much tied to Caleb at the hip. But really, I'm trying to build with Sutton as much as I possibly can, whether it be MMEing or, 20 maxing or 3 maxing or single entry. I'm trying to build with him. The only place where I'm not trying to build with him is probably in cash. So, and then on the Olave thing, I'm keeping him towards cash, and then I'm keeping him towards high dollar single entry contest because he's got high floor on the target share. So that's kind of how I'm going with it. But when I look at MMEing, I'm not really wanting to get a lot of them because I need, like Raz accurately said, we want a high ceiling game from these guys, and he just hasn't got there yet. He's still in the flatline teens, about the 15 range. So we need him more towards the 20 to 25 range.
All right. What about you, Raz? Who's your favorite standalone receiver today? If it's not Sutton, I mean, it's okay if it is.
It's basically Sutton, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, I can make a case for just a couple of guys, but it doesn't feel as good. Like standalone wise, I like both Justin Jefferson and Addison for the Vikings. They're just a team that plays better at home. And I just think, one of them is capable of doing a lot. And to be honest, like Addison at 5,100, I just think there's so much upside. So like he's one of those guys that I'm forcing as one of my favorite.
Are you on the Wentz revenge narrative?
I do have some Wentz only because like I mentioned that my quarterback pool is very wide receiver driven today. And since I'm trying to get Jefferson and Addison, like I just have to be on Wentz a little bit. So I'm not really, he could have that narrative, right? Like he just kind of ran out of town after he got hurt where he was playing at an MVP level, but he also just could have been forever hurt after that too, where he's just not the same guy. So I don't know.
Okay. Tattoo, what about you? Do you have one that hasn't been mentioned?
Well, Justin Jefferson was mine, even though I'll repeat what I said a couple years ago. I would rather get circumcised while awake than play Carson Wentz because I hate him with every fiber of my body. But I also like Romeo Doubs as just a standalone.
Yeah. Is it just like the target share or like the matchup?
Yeah, he especially if Jacobs is out. He always seems to find the end zone. Maybe he can write Jimmy Horn directions. Yeah.
I don't hate that. And I'm with pretty much the guys on this. I do really like Rashee Rice. I think this is the cheapest we see him for a long time. Only real concern here is just game environment if they have to keep the pedal to the metal. But,
I can't get myself to Rashee Rice.
Yeah, he's chalky, so it's not like a super sneaky play. And then Sutton's a core play for me today as well. Speaking of core plays, are y'all's core plays still your core plays this morning? Has anything changed dramatically for any of y'all that has switched things up, Burns?
I don't have any core plays today because I just don't think anyone is standing out as a core play for me. I'm playing pretty much flatline across the board, and my global maxes are what they are, and it's 20% QB, 30 for WR, and running back, and then it's 20 for tight end and 15 for defenses. And I'm not like putting anybody way over that. I think I'm at 40% with Cortland Sutton because I do like Sutton today. But other than that, I'm not really increasing anything above that. And I'm definitely not, going on my way to core somebody because I just don't see where anybody is core worthy like we have in prior weeks. So
sticking to your guns. I love it. Let's see. Chuck, I appreciate the $5 dono. He said, going for it all with Bo Nix. Thanks to Burns and Josiah liking him back on Friday. Just curious if you guys like Ingram since the Giants get torched by tight ends. Burns, will toss it to you first. I think you feel strongly or more strongly about this than I do.
Yeah, I do like Evan Ingram today. I do have a lineup with him, though it's just going to be one because I'm not really sure if he's going to get the target share that we would like to get with a guy that's at 4K. But the guy that I'm really liking a lot in builds with Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton is actually Marvin Mims. It's just because of how he performs against the actual defensive coverage that he's going to see in this game. And it's really just that kind of a play for me. I don't think it's a Troy Franklin day, but I could be wrong there. I think it's Mims and Sutton today with some sprinklings of Evan Ingram in there for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Bo Nix. I like Ingram as well. The tough thing for me is I keep going back and forth on how much I want to tinker with my Bo Nix lines, because if I don't tinker with them, I really only get Sutton. And I think the reason for that is because of these cheap receivers from Washington. And it's how much do I want to limit my exposure to those wideouts to be able to get guys like Mims, Franklin, and Ingram in more lines. I'll probably end up just finding a soft middle ground where I do have 1 to 2 lines with like a Sutton and a Franklin, or Sutton and a Mims. But it's honestly something I'm still going back and forth on right now. So we'll see. Let's see here. Next up, we have Danny, who Burns another one. He said, "Oh no, we're not gonna disclose where Burns is located. We're not doing that." Talking about JT, we'll get to running back position. Everyone loves talking about Jonathan Taylor and Burns' take on the situation. So, Burns, curious to get your thought process on the running back position in general, and just how you're approaching it today with all the changes happening.
So, I was really strong in my take on Friday. I have not boosted anyone outside of 2 guys that I believe need to be boosted in my lineups. They can be, you don't have to, whatever on your own lineups, but in my lineups, I got 2 guys. On JT today, I think when we're starting to get into the 9K threshold, we're looking at a different level of tournament value that you have to attain to be able to keep level with all the other lineups in and around you. And when I'm speaking about this, I'm like talking about a Millie Maker type contest, the play action contest, your huge 50-cent contest that is 150 entries. To keep level with those guys at the top, or even succeed those guys at the top, Jonathan Taylor has to be in the 36 to 45 point range to even make tournament winning value at 9K. That's 4X plus. Los Angeles Chargers are now getting complement of defensive pieces back in this game. We're talking about guys that can actually disrupt the run. And so for me, and I wasn't on Jonathan Taylor on Friday, even before that news came about the defensive pieces, because I just think from a perspective of 9K and above, that running back needs to hit 36. Yes, he has hit 36 and he can do it. But I'd rather have a 9K running back of JT at home than I would on the road. And he's not favored in this game, so that just makes me a little bit more apprehensive to actually have him at a higher ownership amount in my own lineups when there's other running backs that I think could, when you pair them together, could actually be a better fit. Because when you look at Jonathan Taylor, you're going to have to pair him with a guy that's pretty low, like salary wise, or, in the mid salary. So, but yeah, that's just my perspective. I mean, your lineups are your lineups. By all means, it's your money. Utilize it however you wish. So my money is going to be into different running backs than Jonathan Taylor today. That's just the way I'm playing it.
Okay. And what about running backs more broadly? Like, who do you like?
I think, and I touched on this on Friday. I will give you the lowest owned running back that'll probably be on the two low owned running backs on the slate. One I like way more than the other. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going completely under owned in this contest. I think this is the leverage play at the 5K running back spot. I think when you have a high spread in this game, it favors the run. It favors the run because they're going to get up and then they're going to utilize the run. He's a pass catching running back out of the backfield. I'm getting runs with him with Mahomes, and I'm letting it happen. The other guy, and this defense has been awful against the run, and it's more of a play for me in and around about the 5% range, if not lower. And I just think it could be that day where he breaks out, and it's Trevion Henderson. He's about 1.5% owned right now, maybe a little bit more. But Tennessee is not a good defense against the run. They are a good defense against the pass, not against the run. And they're going to get worse against the run because they got multiple guys out that are on the defensive line in this game. And it just makes it a better situation for Trevion. He's a better pass catching back than Ramondre. But by all means, I'm not going to be way over the field on him. If I'm at the 5% range, that is plenty for me. So
I like that. Primarily because I like Drake May this week, and stacking him is just a pain in the ass. And I know whoever I end up pairing him with is going to burn me. But it was so hard to ignore Henderson in those Drake May stacks. And so it ended up happening a little bit this morning when I was starting to run or do some runs. And so I like that call. It makes me feel just a little bit more comfortable with that happening. Raz, what about you? How are you viewing the running back position today?
Well, I'm going to be completely opposite of Burns in a couple scenarios. It's Ramondre for me over Trevion because Ramondre, we've been talking about this.
did we lose Raz?
Oh, no. He got cut right when he was like, we've been talking about what?
Burns
what
pulled his plug. He said, F Raz.
Burns using your ability. Okay, I think he is back. I can't tell which one is him. Here we go. We'll give him a couple seconds. Tattoo, how are you thinking about the running back position while Raz loads back in?
My biggest change has actually, like what we were talking about, I think we talked about it last night in chat too, is Bill or JCM really moving up a lot for me, and Jaden Daniels moving down, and me deciding I'd much rather play. Dallas sucks stopping the run.
So bad,
Yeah.
so bad. They're bad at just defense in general.
They're bad at
Soft
football.
pass zone. That's what is getting me here. If this was any other defense, I wouldn't be playing the Commanders still. But
And I don't think you have to do much to him. Like, you don't have to boost him to get into lineups. He's just naturally going to happen.
Yeah, that's true too. Raz, you left us on a cliffhanger. You were like, we've been talking about, and then you disappeared.
It don't matter anymore.
My connection is apparently rough. So basically, we've been talking about this Trevion breakout for weeks now because Ramondre can't hold on to the football. What New England keeps doing is giving Ramondre more touches. And then last week, I think he had a larger share of the snaps than anybody would have projected based on the fumbling issues. So, I just don't see that all of a sudden now, completely changing in a game that I expect them to win somewhat handily. To me, it's Ramondre. And I like the upside, but I'm with Burns on the Pacheco part. He's the guy that I'm trying to pivot to away from Rashee Rice ownership for me. And the popularity there, because Pacheco saw the increase in snap share out of the running back last week too.
Yeah, I think we need to put a little bit more homage into this play because I think this is the play this week at running back. It's a play that could completely fail. Let's just put that. Let's preface that right now.
Yeah,
like
you have to highlight that.
This play can 100% fail, and fail in a way that if you're putting a significant amount of ownership in him, then your day in MME is probably over. But he can also 100% win this slate, hands down, at the running back position at 5K. I just wanted to put that out there because I think that is something that there's nobody in the industry on this guy. Zero. Like,
I haven't seen anybody talking about it as much because everybody just wants to talk about Jamie and Rashee Rice and his return. And like, I get like Rice makes a ton of sense because he is, in the grand scheme of things, he's underpriced by, $1,000 on DraftKings. Right. But like, there's just a route, and like the route to Pacheco failing is probably Mahomes throwing 4 touchdowns, and like the Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce combinations get there. But if that's not the case, then I think it's Pacheco just killing people in that spot. I mean, like, I guess to continue a little bit on other running backs, like Quinshad Junkins is the one guy that I am as close to 100% in my run. The DS for MME is not going to give me 100%, because it just won't. It'll mess with things, even if I lock him for 150 or 300 lineups. But he has legitimately been in every single hand build that I've done so far.
Quinshad?
I'm just using him. Like the matchup, everything just points to it. So he's the guy I'm getting to.
Now, what are your thoughts on the opposite side with the run game on the opposite side?
The issue is like the Browns defense is so strong against the run, especially at home, that I just, I would rather play Jonathan Taylor. Like I told you that on, I guess, Friday evening, after I saw Tournament Tactics. I'd much rather play Jonathan Taylor. My stance on Taylor has softened a little bit because Khalil Mack and Denzel Perryman grade out as such strong run defenders from the linebacker position. But Jonathan Taylor is I guess to me, I think he's the best running back in football. Like Bijan's more explosive than him, but Jonathan Taylor has just all the touches where Bijan doesn't. So like, I just have to play Jonathan Taylor. I mean, do I think he's going to get 40? No, but in my large field MME, if he gets 32 again, which he's done basically 4 out of 6 weeks so far, I'm not hating myself. Like I can make up those 4 points in other positions, even just 1 point per player across 4 positions, now I'm there. So, like basically it comes down to like, do you ever want to just turn down 30 points? Like if I told you he scored exactly 30 DK points, like, are you fading that? Because I think that's a mistake. But yes, it's 3.5x or whatever. But like, just give me the raw points, and I'll hope the rest of my lineup can make up that difference.
So going back a little bit, for your Pacheco lines, are y'all making a rule or something where you're going to make sure Rice shows up less, or how are y'all riding with that?
I mean, I lowered Rice's just projection, like he's just popping on a point per dollar, So I'm trying to drop that down. The biggest thing also was because then I was increasing like Addison, Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton, maybe even a little bit of like Devonta Smith or AJ Brown, like all around that price range. So that way I get a little bit less for Rashee Rice.
Makes sense.
I haven't played around to see like if I'm getting those two together. And that might be something I want to, I don't know, like there's a route for them both to be together and it pay off. So I don't really want to exclude it for sure, but I'll have to play around because if I do get it a bunch, then yes, I want to limit that.
Okay. Tattoo, how are you thinking about the running back position?
I think
you kind of give all your thoughts, or
I I was going to say my running backs have to have a J in their name. Is the first thing.
That is most of them this week.
Because I'm not playing Breece Hall. No, remember, I'm only hand building a few lineups. I'm not MMEing. But it seems to me that all the running backs that I like have a J in their name, except for Stevenson and Kamara.
Do you like J.K. Dobbins this week as well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just need to make sure that fit the trend.
And Jordan Mason.
And Jordan Mason, yeah. Okay, I understand that.
Josh Jacobs.
Josiah, I need your take on the Breece Hall chalk against your Panthers rush defense, because
I'm not going there. I get it, and he could definitely go off, but it's just the high ownership. To me, Breece Hall stands out as more of a low-owned play I would like a lot, but I can't play him at high ownership in a spot where Panthers have been pretty good against the run. And
I don't get the Breece Hall chalk.
He doesn't have a ton of touchdown equity typically. So, of course, he's probably going to go off against the Panthers now that they've been good, just to make me feel like trash. But outside of that, I really don't get it too much. Besides the fact that Garrett Wilson's out, I think everyone's assuming Hall will get and be more involved in the offense, see more.
Because they'll be so afraid of the pass game that'll open up the running game.
Yeah, so I understand the thought process. I just don't like it. Why? Are you high on it, Raz?
I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I've been high on Breece Hall much of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also seen Carolina's run D get stronger, like with Derek Brown back and everything. And now, excuse me, they're taking on a team that has trouble with the downfield pass right now. Like, so I don't like, and I guess that's like, to me at least, that's a considerable difference between his raw projection and his props projection. 1.4 points is a decent amount, when we have other guys that are very similar or even have a higher props projection than raw. So I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I don't really think I want 26%. Like, I don't want him to be my second highest owned running back, but I also feel like I have to have some, because the touches are probably through the roof.
Yeah, I put a 10% cap on him, and he's showing up in 10% of my lines. So I didn't completely fade him, but I just really didn't want to be anywhere close to field weight exposure. Some of the other risk I'm taking. So just my approach.
What you told me the other day, the floor is the roof.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anyone mention Barkley. He was talked up a good bit on Tactics on Friday. Raz, do you have any interest in Barkley?
I do, but it's some of the scariest interest.
Yeah.
Like, the matchup should lean towards him performing.
Mm-hmm.
Him himself has not leaned towards performing this season. I get that the Eagles' offensive line is healthier now, but I mean, week 1, week 2, like, we just haven't seen Barkley with explosiveness and the upside. He looks very Christian McCaffrey-esque to me this year, where like McCaffrey just touching the ball a ton, but like his yards per touch are far lower than what his career numbers have been.
Yeah, just fine.
It could just be like a hangover from last year. Like, I don't want to say that last year's touches just directly have deteriorated him immediately, but it's tough. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess he's better of a play for me than Devin Achane is.
For me, it's almost anybody. Over.
All right.
All right. And then Wushu, I think this is a good transition to the tight end position, but just is double tight end viable on this slate? Burns, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's viable. There are some decent spots this week for tight ends, and they're multiple. I think this might be one of our best tight end spots that we've had in multiple weeks. So, yeah, I mean, it is a decent tight end spot for double tight ends, and I'll probably be about the 10% range in my flex. So that's kind of where I'm running with it.
Yeah, Raz, what about you? How are you thinking about tight end? double tight end this week?
Yeah, I think it's decent. There's a lot of sim products in the industry, and I see that they're jamming double tight end in. My initial run with the DS only gave me 4.5%. I don't know if I want to increase that. I might just take what it's giving me. I was setting myself to allow up to 15%. It's really comparing, I guess, Mason Taylor, at that 3,400 price point. If you want, compared to Chris Moore for Washington, right? And I think as some of this wide receiver value opens up a little bit more, I think the need for double tight end lessens. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
I think it's fine, right? Trey McBride probably with Brissett is a better play, than with Kyler. Tucker Kraft obviously makes sense. Ferguson takes a hit, because we don't really know what's going to happen with CD back. But it makes a ton of sense. I haven't figured out how to force the DS to give me more. And I don't know that I've ever said those words. Well, right. But then it's going to get me Chris Moore and, or Luke McCaffrey or Jalen Lane. And I don't know that I've ever said the words I need the DS to give me more double tight ends.
Honestly, in my lines, pretty much the only time I see a lot of double tight ends is when I'm playing Jonathan Taylor and I see a ton of McBride Ertz, Mason Taylor Ertz, just trying to find a way to afford Taylor. So I don't know. I'll have some just in those type of lineups, and I do think it's a higher than average tight end week for me, or double tight end week. But again, not going too crazy. What about in single entry tattoo? Did you see much double tight end show up for you?
Yeah, I was hand building, but I would find myself debating back and forth because a lot of times, the tight end is going to be a better projection than a wide receiver or a running back you're going to get down there. So I don't know if I ended up with any. No, I didn't end up with any double tight ends, but it's 1,000% viable, I think.
Okay. And Burns, what tight ends do you like this week?
Oh man, there's a lot.
Maybe your favorite, your top two, or so a high owned and low owned one, something like that.
Okay. I think a guy that probably is not going to be owned as much as he should be in the matchup, and it is a good matchup for him, is Dallas Goedert today. I think he's just going to be in that 5% range, and he could have a very viable day, 15 to 20 points, and just be, one of those untalked about plays. And then, in that 3K range, there are a lot of viable spots. One that pops is the Ertz play, and I think he's going to be really owned because he is the only guy that's really basically has any type of rapport with Jaden Daniels. So he's going to be owned, yeah, and he's 16% owned now. But when you look at the Millie Maker, don't be taken back if you see him at 25-30%. I mean, this is just what it is because of the injury situation with him, with that team. But, you got guys like Mason Taylor, who's coming in under 10%. You got guys like Aronde Gadsden. He's coming in under 10%. But at the higher salary range, Tucker Kraft is coming in under 10%. Trey McBride for me is a single entry cash viable tight end. I'm not going to use him in large field. I just think he really doesn't present well when you look at the tight end position at 5,700. It's just really difficult to build around that. So I'm going to leave him more towards cash and single entry, but yeah.
Perfect. And a little bit off track. Nolan, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, on the flex, are we playing running backs? in the flex on DraftKings. Burns, or I'll actually turn this one to Raz since you just went. Raz, what are your thoughts on running backs in the flex this week?
I'm definitely playing more running back than wide receiver. But I'm still playing around with my percentages. I can't really get a split that I love yet. But also, like, it should be running back for me just because, like, you know, we're adding Ramondre and Pacheco, that guys that we want to have more of, or at least for me. And since I'm playing so heavily with Quinshon, and then, yeah, we didn't really talk a ton about, like, Jordan Mason, and we want Saquon, and I obviously do want some JT, Javante, Bill. Like, my running back pool overall may be smaller, but, like, I want heavier exposure to that group. So, you know, right now I'm probably talking myself into 70%, you know, just thinking about the names. So it kind of leads more to a balanced build too that way, but it also makes sense because I like a lot of 5K wide receivers.
What about you, Burns?
Yeah, I mean, I think running back is the spot in the flex right now. I'll be right around 50% in my flex, you know, somewhere in that range. With the running backs, I just think it's where the trends are going right now. And so that's probably ultimately where I'll land. So
perfect. All right. And then I saw a question in the chat asking about ownership caps. And for those who are unfamiliar, and the DS, the domination station with us here at DFS Army, one of the settings is the projected ownership cap. Burns, I know you usually have a bit more of an approach to this. Like, what's your thought process this week for where you want to be from, like, the projected ownership cap standpoint?
I think I'm landing around the 120 to 130 mark. I think I'm at the 120 mark right now. I just think it looks, and this is the MME runs. It's just, it looks good to me. From a single entry perspective, I'll be upwards of 200% because I play in high dollar single entries, and the ownerships there they're not as really a requirement as it is in MME because most of those guys we hand build our lineup. So, you know, whatever it comes to be, it comes to be. So, but 200% is about for single entry, and high dollar is about what you need to set the projected ownership cap at it.
Okay. Let's see here. We don't have any updates on Jacobs yet. Kyle said, is Josh Reynolds sneaky? Tattoo, did you give Josh Reynolds any thought today?
I did not.
Okay. That was easy. Let's see. JC said, is there an option in the DS to only have Jacobs in the flex spot? I don't believe so. I know for NBA we have a setting like that, but I can't think of one for NFL. Burns, have you seen that before for us?
I don't think so, unless you may be able to create a rule, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, all you need to do is just go into those lineups, and basically all you do is you take Josh Jacobs out of the running back spot, put him in the flex, put that running back that was in the flex into the running back spot. That's pretty much what you would need to do.
Yeah, and you can do that in the DS. Like, once you make lines, you can swap players around.
They have the double arrows.
Yep.
And I would say you could also, not that this is going to completely do it, but make flex 100% running back. I mean, that way,
right?
There's at least just a swap. You know?
Yeah, like you do that, and say you don't want it 100% across your entire 150 or whatever. Run your 100 or 120 lineups at 100% running back in the flex, and then do your other two tight end wide receiver together in one run at 30 or 50 lineups, and just combine them at the end, because you do that, like it's going to be Jacobs in the flex or it's Jonathan Taylor. And if you manage to get Jacobs and Taylor together, it probably is Taylor that shows up. Actually, no, I think the Packer game technically is the latest game. Is it? I'd have to look at the timing.
It's the absolute latest game.
So he's in all 3 running back builds. He's going to show up in the flex if you have him rostered.
Yep. All right. Larry said, "What defense for this week? Keeping us on track. Appreciate you, man." Tattoo, I'll start with you. What defenses are standing out for you in your single entry lines?
I think I ended up with mostly Browns and Bears. And I really want to like the Eagles just for the Carson Wentz hate effect. Figured he'll have some turnovers.
Double down.
But I could also see him having, 3 interceptions, but he throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, and, it doesn't help me. So mainly I think it's going to be like the Bears and the Browns.
All right. Raz, where are you landing?
In every hand build I've done, it's been one of 4 defenses, with the Browns being 90% of that. Browns, it's the Patriots against the rookie quarterback, and then it's the Jets and Panthers in that game. They're cheap enough on DK that's if I absolutely needed, a few hundred, that's who I went with. I don't mind the Broncos, I guess, to give another one, but really it's those 4 are my main priority.
All right. What about you, Burns?
Yeah, so defense is a spot where you can get really different in single entry builds this week.
Okay.
And I think the Chiefs are going to go really underowned in a lot of the high dollar single entry contests that are on DraftKings. And it's a great spot for them. They're at home. They actually perform very well at home. Spags actually he unleashes his defense at home. So I'm really liking the Chiefs this week in high dollar single entry. If you can't get that high up, I like the Patriots as well. And further down, the Browns make a lot of sense. Especially if you're pairing Quinshon Judkins with the Browns. That's a great pairing. And then if you can't get to them, the next best defense for me is the Vikings at 2,600, because you can pair a skinny stack with JJ in that one, or if you prefer to have Jordan Mason, then it makes a very strong correlated play. What you'll see a lot in single entry contests at the high dollar mark is they pair their running back with their defense.
Yep, and not a bad approach at all. All right, y'all, we are almost at the end of the show. Let's go ahead and talk through our favorite low-owned players. Let's go ahead and start with Tattoo. At each position, do you have your favorite low-owned play?
Yeah, I saved my man for last. Drake May would be my lower-owned quarterback.
Love it. Okay.
Hey, don't love the price markup, but he's probably my favorite loaned. Him and Bo Nix would be,
You've been on fire with the Drake May calls recently. You were on it before anybody else, so you deserve it.
I'll take that. Low-owned Kamara, running back. And wide receiver, let's see. Somebody I like that I shouldn't, but it's not. But Jalen Lane for the Redskins.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I know. I think that makes sense as well. Like just taking shots on those cheap wideouts. Do you have a tight end defense?
Tight end, Darren Waller.
Darren Waller. I think Bobby liked him too. Okay, cool.
I mean, I don't love attacking, which sounds nuts. I don't love attacking Cleveland's defense, but and I guess everybody's low on defense, but the Colts,
perfect. All right,
they just have a good defense.
Yeah. What about the only one I can't really get behind that Kamara call, but I understand it. I've heard the name come around a little bit.
I didn't say I love it.
Yeah, sure. Raz, where are you at?
At quarterback, I'm just gonna take him before Burns can use him as in Bo Nix. But Bo Nix, and then I am sprinkling in a little bit of Jackson Dart, as gross as that feels, because I'm just liking that game more than I probably should.
Okay.
Part of it is you just guarantee me a rushing floor of 4 or 5 points out of him, so it's easier for him to get there now because of that. But running back, we obviously talked Pacheco. Burns and I would discuss both of our loves. I'll stick with Travion, at sub 2% in a spot that we expect New England to crush. Just seems super low.
Wait, I thought you were on Stevenson.
Or not true. Yeah, Steve. Sorry, I'm scrolling through quickly, but yes, Ramondre.
Because my math was Burns likes Henderson, Raz likes Stevenson. Y'all X each other out, so I'm just fading it all together. And I was like, now if you're both on Henderson, that changes things.
Yeah, no, it's Ramondre. I can't.
Okay,
I shouldn't do multiple things at once.
No, I feel you. It's hard. What about receiver?
What wide receiver? The fact that Cortland Sutton's under 10% just blows my mind right now. Same with Michael Pittman, right? Without Downs, I think Pittman probably sees an increase in targets as well because, they're without Doolin, so now Adonai Mitchell's got to play, and they obviously hate Mitchell. He's in the doghouse because of everything. So, Pittman target share should be pretty strong for a guy that's sub 10%. And then, I guess Wandale, because he's in that game that I sneakily like, and he's sub 4%. So target monster should be there. Tight end. Mason Taylor probably should be higher on than 7-8%. So he's probably the guy that I'm going to ride with. The one tight end play that I wanted to talk about that I'm not as high on that some people seem to be is the Gadsden play. Because I think the return of Quentin Johnson takes some of his explosive targets out of play. So I think we could see a drop back, and because he's similar price to Mason Taylor, he's not much cheaper than Zach Ertz. It's one play that I just can't get to this week. Where in previous weeks I could. Defense, I already talked about the Browns are easily my highest own, but ownership's pretty spread out amongst everybody aside from the Broncos by the looks of it.
Yeah, we don't have to include a defense here. We talked about it, so it's fine. All right, Burns, what are your thoughts here?
Well, so Caleb Williams is under 10% now, so I'll just roll with him.
Okay.
At the running back position, talked about him a lot. Pacheco, 3% ownership on Pacheco is just incredible to me. I'm really, and I just think it's a past performance type measure there. But we talked about it on Tournament Tactics, talked about it a lot. Snap count is going up with him, and his role is starting to make more sense in that offense now. So I'll just roll with him. But another great one is somebody that may go under owned too is DeAndre Swift. He's a really good play at 5,700 too. At the wide receiver position, guys like Michael Pittman are under 10%. Quentin Johnston's under 10%. Romeo Dobbs has kind of eclipsed 10%. He's at 10.3%. So those are three guys right there that are very good plays this week, in addition to Courtland Sutton. Guy in the 4K range that I'll have is Luke McCaffrey. He's about 6%. And then guy in the 3K range that I'm pushing into my lineups is Marvin Mims. Tight end, Dallas Goedert at the 4K range is one of the lowest 4K guys right now. So he's viable. He's had good rapport, a lot of touchdowns this year with Jalen Hurts. And so, yeah. And then at the 3K range, Taylor, like Raz said, I mean, he's a great play. And then, you got Harold Fannin. He's under 10% too. So these are guys that are good plays. So,
yep. For me, the only quarterback that y'all haven't mentioned that I'm going to be over on is definitely not Bryce Young. Is I just had Jordan Love. We talked about it. Less Josh Jacobs, more Jordan Love. I still have a ton of Josh Jacobs exposure. We talked about that strategy earlier, but just taking that shot now at this point. Running back, I don't see things too differently than you all. So I won't rehash anyone that wasn't mentioned. We touched on pretty much everyone that's low owned. So I won't rename one. Receivers a little bit different for me. I'm with y'all on Sutton, but I am taking a shot on Jalen Coker. His return wouldn't shock me if he's a little slow to bounce back. I wish he was like 3,700. But at 4K, I'm going to take the shot. No one's playing him. All the Washington receivers are in great spots and will have more targets, so they're better plays, and I'll have more exposure to them. But 2-3% Coker won't kill me. Famous last words. And then tight end, the guy I'm going significantly over on is Fannin. No Njoku. Awful Dolphins defense. He's pretty close to a core play for me this week. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at things. I appreciate you all just for sticking with us. We're at week 7. We're off to a good start. Hopefully we have another great slate. Everyone's celebrating in the Discord. But that's pretty much it for us. Tattoo, who's your anytime touchdown guy for today?
Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft. All right. Well, y'all have a good one. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget about NBA on Tuesday. Peace out.
Yes, forget about NBA.